All right, ready?
No, hold on. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
We should get a catchphrase.
I have a
What would it?
catchphrase.
Okay.
Wait, do you have a catchphrase? You never have any catchphrases.
Well, I try to think. Well, last time I thought of one, it was not that good, so I decided to give up
Why?
because it wasn't that good. If it gets going, text gets tough, I give up.
Stop immediately. That
Yeah.
that's like 90% of comic creators.
Hmm.
And if that's you and you're listening, you're not alone. Eric is with you.
Yeah. Oh, see, unlike Kavanaugh, I know the meaning of the word stop.
I don't know if I understand that reference.
The Supreme Court judge, Brett Kavanaugh.
Oh, oh, yeah, the husband of the lady who bust in all those people. Never mind.
No,
Uh, wait, what?
Okay, Brett Kavanaugh. He's the guy that got like nominated, but was accused of, like assaulting a girl, a woman.
This has to be our worst intro of all time. I mean, there's no. This doesn't even take the cake. There's no intro that we've ever done that
Brett
comes
No, it does
anywhere.
take the
Kavanaugh.
cake.
He
Yeah.
was nominated for the
Why are you talking about Brett Kavanaugh?
because he assaulted a woman and he said, quote, on Saturday Night Live, I don't know the meaning of the word stop. I said, unlike Brett Kavanaugh, I do know the meaning of the word stop.
Who would get that reference? And
Everybody who knows Brett Kavanaugh.
so a judge went
You
on
see,
SNL and said,
no,
"I don't know the meaning of the word
Matt
stop."
Damon portraying Brett Kavanaugh.
Why didn't you just say Matt Damon then?
Because Matt Damon said that as a character. Like, you don't say, like, remember when Matt Damon
So Brett
played an
Kavanaugh
angel,
never
played a
even said
fallen
the
angel?
thing that you just quoted him as saying.
But yeah, no, he got accused of that. He's like, just. And that's what quote he's saying. Because he assaulted a woman. Pretty much, he
I
likely did.
hate this intro. What
This
happened
intro
to you
is
this week that made you this way?
nothing. I just said something. I quoted somebody, and then you're like, I don't understand quotes. I'm like, you see, this is why I don't come up with catchphrases because anything I come up with just goes over your head, and I've given up.
I
Because
think
unlike Brett Kavanaugh, I knew the meaning of the word "stop" and stopped when I realized it was going to go over your head, so I stopped doing the
I mean,
intro
beyond the
because
fact
I
that it went
didn't.
over my head, it was also very extremely dark and not that like I mean, just
Yes,
not
it was
appropriate for a
not a
comic book
light-hearted intro. That's why I don't do intros because my intros make people depressed, and depressed people stop.
Yes, I think maybe I should just keep coming up with it with catchphrases until we get one. I
Okay.
think that was the moral of this intro.
Yes,
Okay. Cool. Who are we?
we are the Dumb Comic Creators.
I'm Keegan Shiner, and I'm
I'm
joined with
Eric
by
Schwartz.
Eric Schwartz. And I don't know if you get to talk anymore during this
I
intro.
talk.
Just
I
chill.
use my
Just chill.
words.
Calm down. Take a sip of Fresca. Today we're joined by Michael Penick. He is a comic book writer, artist, writer,
Both.
creator. Created and written by Michael Penick. And he did a comic called Recovery Incorporated.
Yep.
Cool. Uh, and so thanks for coming on our show.
Thanks for having me.
That's the part Eric usually does, so that's why I botched it. But
He's no longer allowed to speak, though.
no, he is now. Now that we're in the interview portion, it's cool. I just wanted
so
to get out without talking about more like assault.
I think his
battery.
catchphrase should be "All my catchphrases go over your head."
I think that's a winner of a catchphrase, Keegan.
Too bad you didn't come up with it, Eric.
You're right. I did not come up with it. I can't take credit for it.
Yeah.
It wasn't mine.
Yeah, and we can't use that legally because one day you may decide to sue us. So
You can have it. It's all yours.
uh,
I'll sign paperwork.
okay, we'll talk about it. We'll have our lawyers call your people.
Okay.
Cool. So, Michael, how'd you get interested in making comics?
Good question. Let's see. I will say that my friend Peter took me to a comic book specialty store when I was 16. I sort of knew about comics before then, but when he took me to a specialty store for the first time ever when I was 16, walking through that door was like entering nirvana. It was like, Whoa. That was it. I was forever changed after that moment.
Oh, cool. Do you remember the name of the store?
Oh man. I don't.
Okay.
Maybe later on it'll come to me and I'll just blurt it out in the middle of the show.
Where was it? Was it in Illinois? Yeah.
No, it was I was living in the suburbs of Dallas at the time. So
Oh,
it was some comic book store that was right close to between Plano and Richardson, Texas.
Okay.
So for anybody who knows,
Yeah.
you can chime in and let me know what it was, and if it sounds familiar, I'll say yes, that was it.
What makes a comic book store a specialty comic book store? Because like I worked at a comic book store, but I don't know if it was
Well,
special.
that was it. The fact that it was a comic book store, I didn't know that there were comic book stores. I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know. From when I was a kid, there were still
Bookstores.
well, bookstores, or you could see there was like a spinner rack in
Oh, yeah, okay.
7-Eleven or
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
grocery store. You know, those things. That's the only place I ever discovered comics. So I didn't know there was such a thing as a comic book store until my friend took me to one.
Oh, cool.
And I've been poor ever since.
Yeah. Yeah. What are your favorite series?
Now?
Yeah. Or
Oh my gosh.
And back
I don't get to read nearly as much as I used to. I'm trying to create rather than read, you know?
Yeah.
Geez, oh Pete, I don't even know what I'm reading. Actually, a friend of mine, Tim Larson, has got he's about to launch a Kickstarter for the issue 3 of his series Mayfield 8. The first 2 issues of that I love. I loving it to death. So I'll plug that for Tim. I'm loving the heck out of that. That's
8,
really
okay.
good.
Cool.
What else? I don't know. You know what? I started a few years back. I started reading Blade of the Immortal, and I got like, I don't know, maybe 15 volumes in, and I realized, okay, this thing's going on forever. I'm going to stop and wait until it's done. So I waited, and I have like 31 volumes or something. So
wow.
At some point I have to get back. I'm going to start all over again and read that whole thing from the beginning.
Oh, cool. I've not
So
heard of that. Eric, have you heard of that one?
I am not. It's I'm looking at it right now though. Some manga. It looks like there's a film made off of it too though as well.
Oh, have they made a film of it? I've got them all right over here. Let's see, where's the very first? Yeah.
This is great audio. I'm loving it.
So like there's the very first
Oh,
volume.
Cool.
I think that's the very first
I mean,
volume.
the artwork looks awesome.
Yeah, that's the first or the second volume. I don't know. I'm a terrible comic book collector because I'll put 2 volumes in one bag.
Oh, wow. Oh.
I was worse when I first collected comics. I put the entire like 8 runs in like one. So like this is a story arc. This is good.
I do that too.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Okay, so I have a hard-hitting question for you.
Yeah.
You have much beard power. How long has that beard been growing for?
Well, I do trim it.
I mean, it looks like well groomed. You didn't come up here and all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's Alan Moore again. But no, you look like a well groomed man. But your beard you have very much strong beard power, stronger than both Keegan and I combined.
No, I can see yours. You have strong beard power. You have stronger beard power than I do, actually.
I disagree.
I only have a goatee because I used to be able to grow a strong beard, but as I've gotten older, the side of my face has given up. It's decided to get out of the game. So my goatee is the best I can manage anymore.
Yeah, my face doesn't play beard games. It never entered the arena, really.
So Keegan,
you're kind of lucky. You don't have to worry about shaving that much, because believe me, that's a pain in the butt.
No, I don't. I just got one of those electric razors, and I just run that every other day. Sometimes.
See, that's kind of nice.
Hey Keegan, so is your beard not like Brett Kavanaugh? and that knows the meaning of the word stop?
I have no idea what you're talking about, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. And I think you mean Matt Damon. So let's continue with the interview.
Let's continue the interview.
Michael, tell us a little bit about your project, Recovery Incorporated.
Well, let's see. Mia Raven is a woman who had a bad childhood. She comes from a bad past, but she doesn't want to be bad. So she eventually was able to become a police officer, and she made it to detective level. And she was assigned to robbery, where she had a partner named Dennis, and she was good at it. But what she found was that her personality doesn't do very well playing by the rules. She cares more about solving the she cares more about solving the crime and doing whatever it takes to solve the problems than she does playing by all the rules.
Got it.
So she didn't last very long as a detective because she's not good at playing by the rules. So she figured out a way to be able to do the job, but her way. So she now is like an independent contractor where she works for insurance companies. And it's like a high risk, high reward kind of job where she will find stolen objects for a percentage of the value of the object, so that the insurance companies don't have to pay out on the policies.
Oh, cool. Okay, so she works for the insurance companies. It's
for the most part, yeah, as an independent contractor, yeah.
Okay, so she not directly for the people that the items are stolen from.
Sometimes she'll work for the people that the items belong to. It depends on how they come to her.
And
sometimes
we're not talking about like pianos that go missing. We're talking about like millions of dollars worth of merchandise, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's very much inspired by. Do you remember the remake of the Thomas Crown Affair that had Pierce Brosnan and Rene Russo in it?
Yeah.
It's very much based on Rene Russo's character, Catherine Banning. She worked for the insurance company, and her job was to get the stolen painting back. So the insurance company didn't have to write a check for $100 million. So if she gets the painting back, she gets a percentage of the value of the painting.
You have a really cool part of this comic that flashes back to Portugal in like the 70s. Is that based on any part of your life, or how did that sort of character development come about in the creative process?
Good question. That's good. When Dean and I, when I was asked to create something for this British magazine, there was a magazine in Britain that they started up called Strip Magazine UK. Oh. And John Freeman, who was going to be the editor of the magazine, had found me, I guess, on DeviantArt or something, and we struck up a conversation. And so when I had the ability to create something, I sat down with my best friend Dean, who we co-write stuff together, and he's my trusted soundboard. So we sat down, and I kind of told him that the other big influence on my character is Luc Besson's Le Film Nikita, which came out in 91. I really loved how convincingly tough she was, but I also loved what a sort of, she comes from a really bad past, and she's trying to remake herself. I love the complexity of her character.
Yeah.
So I'd had in my mind for years and years and years that I wanted to do something kind of like that, So I sat down with Dean and I said, these are these two strong female protagonist type characters that I've had mulling around in my head for years. I want to do something with that. So we just started mulling it over, and I think I knew that I wanted her to be European. I wanted her to, when in her teenage years, she spends a lot of time running around with a bad gang in Europe, getting into trouble. And I wanted her to be able to come back to the United States with a clean record so that she could get a job as a police officer and with no record. And I knew that if she was in the United States and she's gotten in trouble, that
she'd be
would
done.
be a slim possibility.
Yeah.
So that kind of made her had to be sort of international. And so I don't know why. It's just one of those instinctual things. It's just one of those, I don't know. It's just one of those things where I'm like, well, we've seen French, characters, whatever. I just wanted to pick something that seemed a little more out of the way, seemed a little more interesting, I guess. So
Nice.
that's what my instincts said.
Oh, it's totally great. Yeah. And you really captured the periodness of it, I guess.
Oh, thanks.
Like you really captured the feeling of it, I guess. Yeah. I
do research to find, what the cars were of that time period and what things looked like at the time, so that I got all this, so I made it look correct.
Yeah.
Well,
and the beards. I want to just shout that out. You got some serious 70s beards here too, I think.
Yeah, I researched that too. I researched what people were wearing and dressing and looking like during that time period. Yeah.
That was a big question I had throughout the entire thing. Like, these are all great, compelling characters, and the artwork's fantastic, and the story's interesting. But what about the beards in the 70s of her parents? And then I scrolled down, like, there they are.
Yeah. That's the wonder of the internet, Yeah. You can look up everything. You can find everything. It's all there. If you're willing to do your research, if you want to make a comic or tell a story accurately, and you're willing to do the work, you can find what you need to make it authentic.
We did have a question from Twitch asking, what are your favorite beards?
The Fu Manchu, come on.
Fu Manchu. Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, although I've seen some crazy beards lately. I saw one just recently where I'm trying to remember what it looked like. Even it was like some guy had hair. He had it on half his head, so his hair. Half his head was bald. Okay. And then the other half, it went from this side, he had hair, and it went all the way down and then came down, and he had half over here. So half of his head was hair and the other half was bald. And I was like, all right, that's pretty ballsy. I got to hand it to him. That's pretty I
think people do that for their mugshots. That's what they do. They because they make you turn. So when you turn, it's clean, and
right.
When you face forward, it's weird,
But even if you turn sideways, if you're seeing the side that doesn't have anything, right, you can still see the beard over on the other half.
Oh, but not as much. Yeah.
Not as much, but you can still see it. Something's going on.
Yeah. Oh, that's.
And I saw another one recently that had like beard on this half. And then it went up, and then there was like a mustache over, and the mustache went over here.
Oh yeah, that's a new thing.
Here.
That's a new thing.
It's like a giant S or something. I don't know, but I mean, how can you not applaud the guts on somebody to do something like that?
I forget what that's called, but that's a new style.
Yeah,
that's a new one.
I don't have the guts to do that.
It's weird looking. Of course, I can't do any of it, so. Who am I to judge,
Yeah. It would certainly be an attention getter.
So you did all the pencils and inking and lettering for this book.
Yes, and I colored half of it. Yes. So Dean and I co-plot the story together.
Oh, cool.
we came up with the characters, we came up with the plot and everything, and then from there I take the plot and then I script it and do all the layouts, and then I pencil it and ink it, and I do all the lettering, and then I colored half of this issue, and because it takes forever, I eventually because we were getting tight on deadlines for the magazine at the time, I got John Roush to help me color the other half of it.
Oh, okay.
Stay on schedule.
So this went into that British magazine you were talking about.
Yeah,
okay.
I did all. So it was like it would be 8 pages a month for the magazine. So the 24 pages in issue 1 of Recovery Incorporated would have been the 3 8-page chapters.
Okay.
For the magazine. The first 2 chapters were in the first 2 issues of the magazine, but they were having, the financier of the magazine was a guy from Eastern Europe, and they were having big problems. Well, at the time they said they were having big problems getting the money from Eastern Europe to the UK. And so I didn't get paid for anything. So I pulled the 3rd chapter from being in the 3rd issue of the magazine, because I was like, well, if I'm not going to get paid, then I'm not going to let the strip run. And then everyone else was having problems. And then shortly thereafter, the whole thing folded, the magazine folded and everything. And I've since heard that the guy who was trying to do this whole thing, his name is Evo, and I'll just leave it at that. But he's tried to do this in a different country, and they've all had the same issues.
Same thing.
Not getting any money. So I don't know what the heck the deal is, but
he just likes starting magazines, I guess.
And then not paying anyone, and the magazine fails.
And then it just fails again. Wow.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he's some kind of con artist, or I don't know what the deal is. So
he just likes content, and I mean, he can't. Is he making money on the magazines, I guess? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, it's only if it's only running for a few issues, and then I don't see how he is.
Yeah.
I don't understand. He has a magazine in the country where he's from that I think has done quite well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if he's just honestly doesn't understand the international requirements or needs of having a successful magazine. And he's honestly trying and just failing, or if there's some other shenanigans going on. I don't know.
Yeah, just sucks either way. Yeah.
Yeah, because it puts everybody else through a lot of grief and heartache. You know, John Freeman, the English gentleman who was hired to edit the magazine and everything, he was a very famous and well-known and well-liked editor at Marvel UK.
Oh, cool.
And he has his own website still called Down the Tubes in the UK. And he's the nicest guy in the world. And I'm sure it was just a massive heartache and pain for him. Sure. I feel for him more than anybody.
Interesting.
But we've stayed in touch and have remained friends. And I just still to this day, I feel so sorry for what he went through with all of that.
So do you draw other comics too?
Well, I have other comics that I've developed over the years. Okay. I have quite a few that I have tons of ideas I come up with, and most of them are like, whatever. And I put them in a folder that's, the whatever folder. And then I have a few that are really golden ideas that are really good, and they won't leave me alone. And I know that they've got a real hook and there's something special. Those I've worked on, and I've worked on for years. So I have about 8 or 9 of those that I've written on a ton and developed, and several of them that I've got about a whole first issue done on.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was working on the first issue of my big fantasy epic for about several months before I stopped and remembered that I had Recovery Incorporated sitting there completely finished, and was like, "What am I doing? I I should just get that out there."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So, Recovery Incorporated is the first. This is issue 1, right, or part 1?
yeah.
Are the other parts coming?
Oh yes.
Oh,
Oh
good.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've this is a 4-part miniseries, which will be the first story arc of either 4 or 5 story arcs. I've sort of plotted out.
Okay.
I've plotted out like 4 story arcs, but I think I might put a 5th story arc into it for the whole thing, because I kind of know where I want her whole story to go.
Oh, good. Good.
And so, and I like planning ahead like that, because I like being able to leave little foreshadows, and hints and clues about where the whole thing's going to go. I love stories like that, so I like to write stories like that, because I love it when you get to like issue 10 or 11 and you get a big awakening moment or a bomb, or like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
That goes back to like issue 2, or something like that. So,
Oh, cool.
So I have those plotted out. Now, the first 4 issues I've scripted already. They're written. They're done. I'm doing breakdowns for issue 2 already. I've got half of those done already. The good part about the issues 2, 3, and 4 is that I'm no longer confined to the 8 pages a month format, so I can kind of let the storytelling breathe. Yeah. So I think issues 2, 3, and 4 will be probably more than 24 pages an issue, because when I script it, I'm really kind of free form in my script. I write.
Yeah, this
I don't
is a
write
good question.
I don't write like in a comic book.
Panel by
strict
panel
comic book, like, yeah, no, I don't. I have the luxury of not doing that, since I'm the artist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just write in a screenplay format.
Okay, that makes sense to me. That makes sense.
I took a couple of years of screenwriting in college, and then I took a writing for comics class that was taught by Denny O'Neil.
Yeah.
And so while I can write in a
panel 1, panel 2
comic book type thing if I have to, because I'm the artist and I've done visual storytelling for years, I find it easiest for me to just write in a screenplay type format, where I have a minimal amount of visual direction.
Can we talk about this for a second? Because that's one of the things. I'll share my screen so you can see it, but that's one of the things that really stands out about your comic, is how much like lettering is on the page sometimes.
That particular page is really cram-packed with lettering, because that was me trying to make sure I hit that 8-page that 8-page limit.
Well, I mean, this is like the big text page, but a lot of your comic has a lot of dialogue, which I think is like comes from you screenwriting this, right? Possibly. Yeah. I mean, it's great. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I think all of this text is really cool. It drives the story. Well, the art also kind of drives the story. And they work really. It makes sense now that you do all of this yourself, because I think working on a team trying to get this much text with art in, like, there's a lot of panels per page, there's a lot of text per page, but for some reason it didn't take me out of it. Like, if other people did that, good. I think I would like be Eric, what do you think about that? But like, I think I've seen it where like other people have done that much wording and like it's not working. Do you know what I mean? Or
I understand. No. Well, I also thought like because it was clearly you did your own inking, I thought the inking actually add to the story. Keegan, do you mind sharing again really quickly?
Sure.
If you go down to the part where I was referring to as a part where you clearly layered the letters, the part where she's taking the very fast jets, if you scroll down a fair amount.
Oh, the jets, yeah.
Yeah, the jet scene. If you look at the inking of that, it is fantastic. Like
You mean the drawing?
the
Oh, the
lettering. If you look
the
at the lettering,
lettering.
keep on
Okay. You keep seeing inking.
scroll down more.
Okay. Like here?
Yeah, right there. If you look at the lettering,
Yeah.
you clearly layered the letters so that it's actually adding to the story. Like because it's like you clearly see the lettering, like good vibrations, like vibrating is the point. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that adds a lot to the story. So that's why I don't think like I didn't mind it so much, is because oftentimes when artists put the wording in such a place, they're like, I didn't want to draw this part, that's why I put the wording here. That was not in this case. It was like I had the wordings here because I need to fit it in my 8-page minimal thing, and it didn't take away from the story. I thought it added to it.
And beyond that, it's not
that makes
like
sense.
it's not like sometimes comic book writers might get more obsessed with the show don't tell part of it, whereas since I guess since you're screenwriting, you kind of like, okay, they're on a plane, but like what else could I add here that would make this like a more interesting scene? Yeah, it's just really cool. It's like really a well thought out way of storytelling.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm trying very hard to like. I definitely. I love movies, and I love very cinematic type storytelling, and I like to try and bring that to my comic books. But at the same time, I don't want to just try to do a movie. You have to remember that it's a comic book,
Yeah.
and so you have to use the tools that you have as a comic book, to try and maximize what a comic book is. So I try to find the best ways I can to make it sing as a comic book, but also make it feel cinematic at the same time. So to me, and that's the best thing about being lucky enough to be able to do it all myself, is that I feel like I can try and use all of those tools together to try to make the most immersive experience possible. One of my biggest influences is Barry Windsor Smith, who was another guy that did it all himself. He wrote his own, he would write and pencil and ink his own stories. He would even color his own stories. And even though he would have another letterer, it was very implicit about where all his word balloons would go and stuff. And he was very, very effective, or still is. I say was. He's still around. He's got a new book coming out this year, actually.
Oh, cool.
He's so good at using word balloons to lead the reader's eye through the page and through the panel, because Barry was so intelligent. He was so smart at realizing that, as an artist, we're so intent and so focused on thinking that it's our art that's leading you through the page. But I mean, I hate to break it to you, but the word balloon is what leads you through the page, man.
Yeah.
Because that's your eyes looking for the next balloon to read.
Right.
That, so like your word balloon placement is so vitally important for, where your eye is going.
Yeah.
So, they don't always just need to be like at the top of the, at the panel and everything. If you have something that someone says, and then there's a piece of action that happens, and then you want something they say to happen after the action happens, well, then how you put those balloons in there, you need to have the balloon, then the action, and then another balloon, because you're going to read it that way. You're going to read it from top right to bottom left. And those are so important to how the story reads and flows through a panel.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like for me as a storyteller, you got to use all of those things together to tell the best possible story, you know? So like I write in screenplay mode, right? And then when I start doing my page layouts, I letter the page when I do my layouts.
Oh, okay.
Because I use that as an opportunity to do my final pass at the script.
I'm totally laughing because this is the opposite of like, so we're more like on the writer's side of comic books. Like I did screenwriting and we can't draw, but I've recently figured out that my comic book scripts get better when I draw it out but now you're saying like you letter out too. Do you letter out when you're also doing like rough sketches of the characters?
No. When I'm just doing that, I'm just thinking about what the character looks like and feels like, what their attitude is.
No. I mean on the page. Do you have like rough, stick figures or something? When I'm doing the layouts for the page, it's kind of funny. Like if it's a pretty simple shot, the setup, my layouts will be they're pretty rough, but they're fairly recognizable or they're more than a stick figure. But if it's a really complex shot, they're pretty ugly. They're pretty gross because I know getting all the perspective right and everything it's going to take work. So I do just enough that I can interpret what the scribbling is on the page. So I come back, I'm like, okay, I'll get that later. It depends on how I feel that day. If I'm feeling really good, like if my brain and my hand are working well together that day, I might noodle in more detail and like really get into it a little bit. But some days that's better than others. Some days my hand and my brain are just really not getting along, and then I'll just whatever, I'll keep it really simple. Oh yeah.
So it all depends on the day.
Where did you learn how to draw?
It's just something I started doing when I was a little kid. I don't really remember a time that I wasn't doing it. So I was always doing it. I was always interested in it. Because it's funny because for me, the drawing and the storytelling always went together. Like I always kind of wanted to tell stories or drawing something to me was a way of helping me play back and remember, a cool movie or show or something. So it was always a way to me to tap back into a story that I loved.
Yeah.
So Star Wars came out when I was 7, and my dad took me to see it on opening day. And that really changed my whole world. I was just like, just from that opening crawl, you're just so instantly convincingly in that world, right? I just wanted to be in that world like forever,
Yeah.
So that really just made everything for me. It wanted to be about storytelling. I just want to be in worlds like that. So I just was always drawing just to kind of take me away to some imaginary place or whatever.
Oh, cool.
So eventually in high school, I got into this commercial art program. I happened to go to a really nice, big high school. My high school was the 4th largest high school in the country.
Oh, yeah.
So we had nice programs. This commercial art class I was in was 2 hours a day my junior year and 3 hours a day my senior year.
Wow.
So it was, and our teacher he had been an illustrator for his whole career. And so we had to actually try out to get in the class. Everyone had to bring a portfolio and had to go through an interview. And so only 24 people were in the junior class, and then only 12 of those were brought back for the senior year class.
Wow.
Yeah. So
it was like Ink Master.
Yeah, so
I've just been watching a lot of Ink Master. It was nothing like Ink Master.
I don't even know what that is. So
it's like this old tattoo
artist.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we were taught all kinds of. We were taught how to airbrush and how to inking, and with old school with a brush, and we were taught how to use gouache paint, which is what a lot of the old illustrators used to use. We were taught how to do printing and all kinds of stuff. We were taught basically all the things you would need to be able to basically leave high school and be a freelance illustrator, if that's
like a college course, really. Yeah.
Yeah, it was technically part of the trade program at the school. So like Future Farmers of America and the auto mechanics program, it was technically part of that. So it really was to teach you a trade. And then I was lucky enough to go to art school after that in New York City. So that was 4 more years of art training on top of that.
Wow, cool. What school was that?
I went to a School of Visual Arts.
Okay. SVA, yeah.
SVA in New York City, yeah.
Nice.
So I had lots, hundreds of hours of figure drawing, and
yeah. Was it very traditional at the time, or was it?
Yes, it was. Yeah. Yes, it was completely traditional. Okay. There were no computers at the school when I was there.
Yeah. Okay. No, I meant like more like contemporary art where they're. It's kind of more,
no. School of Visual Arts was awesome.
Okay.
I mean, I was a cartooning and illustration major.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I had Will Eisner was a teacher of mine for 2 years. Joe Orlando, who was a comic book artist for DC for years and years. Carmine Infantino, who was famous comic book artist as well. Sal Amendola was one. He used to draw a lot of Batman stuff very much in a Neil Adams style.
Oh, cool.
So there were others. Let's see. Klaus Janson started right after I graduated, and so did Walt Simonson.
Okay.
He started right after I graduated as well. Actually, it's funny because I wanted to do an independent study with Walt Simonson. I did an internship at Marvel Comics from 1990 and 91. I did an internship at Marvel, and so I had access to a lot of artist phone numbers and stuff because my editor was having me call people and ask where their artwork stuff was a lot of times, and like, how's it going? When are you going to have stuff in? Stuff like that, which was really weird as an intern being asked to call artists.
Hello.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You don't know me, but
yeah.
I work for Marvel.
Where's the artwork?
Yeah. Well, you're behind. When are you gonna get stuff in? I know. It's not really something an intern should be doing, but I got asked to do that a few times.
Oh, that's funny.
But so anyway, so I had Walt Simonson's phone number, and I was like. I want to ask him to do, in your senior year at SVA, you could do an independent study with someone. So I was like, I'm going to ask Walt Simonson if he'll do an independent study with me. And so I screwed up the courage to call him, just cold call him, a complete stranger, and say, hi, I'm just nobody from, going to the School of Visual Arts. And I was curious if you'd do a independent study with me. And because I was like, what's the worst he could say? No, right? But he actually said, sure. So I put together this whole thing for the dean of students, saying that this is who I want to do my independent study with, and he said yes, whatever. So I submitted it, and then the dean said, "Oh, I'm sorry, you can't do that. It has to be with a teacher at the school."
Oh.
And I was like, what? You didn't say that.
Oh, man.
so then I had to call Walt back and say, they won't let me. And Walt said, oh, that's too bad. Why don't you come on out anyway? So I got to go to Walt's house a few times and hang out with him and show him my artwork. And he gave me tips and pointers. And
oh, cool.
yeah. So, I mean, just proof that, I mean, Walt already had a reputation as being, you know, one of the nicest guys in comics, but it's just another story to prove that he is indeed one of the nicest guys in comics.
Wow, that's
and then the very next year, he started teaching at the school. So I don't know if my little thing had anything to do with that or not, but there you go.
I'm sure at that point the dean's like, oh, he's willing to help out. I'm just a D word. So
I don't know. I mean, I like to think it had something to do with it, but maybe it didn't. I really don't know.
Huh.
Not me.
So, Michael, do you have a Instagram or Facebook that people could find you on?
Yeah. My public page on Facebook is Facebook at penickart.public.
Okay. Penickart dot
Mm-hmm.
public.
It's all Penickart. Everything's Penickart. My Instagram is Penickart.
Okay.
And my Twitter's Penickart.
Great. Cool.
I try to make it as simple as possible.
And can people find your comic somewhere? I mean, people should be reading Recovery Incorporated. It's awesome.
Well, right now it's just on Kickstarter.
Okay. Oh, good. Okay.
And that goes through the 11th
of February?
February, yeah.
Okay. So we'll make sure to get that out there, Eric.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, you know, if other things happen and it doesn't, that's okay. There's certain priorities that must be adhered to. So, you know.
Yeah.
No, I disagree. I think this is more important.
He's referring to my I mean, like, I'm expecting a child.
I know
here
what he's referring to.
Any second. Well, our listeners don't, though.
Yeah.
Our listeners are going to be like, "Where's the episode?" Yeah.
I'll be like,
don't blame me. If your wife goes into labor and you gotta, you know, the child comes first. Please.
Yeah.
As a father, I'm saying, put the child first.
Hold on. I'm almost done exporting.
You see, there's one. I can see one hand the baby's, one hand you, the other with the mouse keyboard, just doing the clicking, click.
Yeah.
Will this be your first?
First, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, get ready to be really tired for quite a while.
Yeah. I'm there. I'm probably not even there, but like I'm already, you know. It's like hearing Pop Goes the Weasel over and over with no pop right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Just wait. It gets better.
Yeah.
You're going to be a zombie for about 6 months or so.
Oh no.
And then when they get old enough to start hearing whatever it is, you won't even know what it is. Like for us, it was Baby Shark. Baby Shark, do, Baby Shark, do. I wanted to kill myself so many times. You don't even know. But it'll be whatever the new thing is. You know, I don't know what it'll be, but it'll be something. And you'll just be like, ah!
My niece, who's a year and a half old, listens to two different songs.
Yeah.
One is Baby Shark.
Yeah.
The other is Puppy for Hanukkah.
I don't know that
which
one,
is written. It was written by one of the guys from
Sing
Hamilton.
it, Eric. Sing it.
No,
yeah.
I want a Puppy for Hanukkah. It's a rap song. I don't know.
A rap song? Oh, funny.
It's a rap song.
Okay. That's okay.
He won't sing it.
I thought you might know it.
Dave,
I want you to sing it.
Puppy for Hanukkah.
Don't play it. It's okay, Eric.
That's the song.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't give us enough of it.
Copyright issues. We don't.
I wanted to get. Oh, that's right. Copyright.
Yeah.
I wanted to get into my head so I can go sing it to my daughter.
Just Google or YouTube or look at YouTube Puppy for
Puppy
Hanukkah.
for Hanukkah. Okay.
Yeah. No, my niece is just obsessed with that. So
Yeah.
like, and so she doesn't talk too well just yet. But as soon as she can talk, I'm sure her first words are going to be Alexa, Puppy for Hanukkah.
Alexa. Yeah. Yeah.
Eric, did you have any other questions?
Just I always ask this question. Any advice for new comic creators?
Oh wow. That's a big question. New comic creators. I here. Okay. I would say Scott McCloud's drawing for Drawing for comics.
Making.
I think that's his. Huh?
Making comic, creating comic. No. Drawing for
Scott,
comics. Okay.
I think that was it. It's Scott McCloud. It was his first big book on draw. I think it's I don't know. I got it somewhere.
Understanding comics.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
I think that's it. Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics.
Or Making Comics, yeah. Yeah, there's two of them. Making Comics, yeah. No, Understanding.
Yeah, Understanding Comics.
That was his first one, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics. Will Eisner's Sequential Storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. Those are three essential books for learning how to tell stories in the comic book medium. They're all three are very different, and they're all essential reading for learning the mechanics of visual storytelling. Sorry about that. That's my stupid phone.
Put your phone away, new comic creators. That's another tip.
Those are all essential reading for learning the mechanics of panel to panel storytelling, of what it means going from one panel to the next, how the time displacement and storytelling and pacing for words and how to use words and for drawing, all those things are covered, especially like in the How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. Even if you're not a Marvel type person, it covers so many fundamentals about drawing and about perspective. It covers all the fundamentals that you need to know for drawing. So that would be my biggest advice.
Cool. Yeah, that's good advice. Those are three great books for sure. Although I haven't read Will Eisner's book in a while. I might have done that in high school. But we just talked about how to draw the Marvel.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, in December. We did this December drawdown where we all tried to. It was me and Eric's niece and our friend Andy Buwandy, who is a comic book artist. All doing like a little competitive competition on drawing comics.
Oh, very fun.
And so each week we used a different like source material, and one of them was how to draw comics the Marvel way, right, Eric?
Yep. Yes, it was.
Excellent.
That was the first week's one. This is a different niece, not the 1.5-year-old. This is she's, I believe, almost 16 now. By now.
Oh, okay. So,
I can't
you sure
say.
She's not the one listening to I Want a Puppy for Hanukkah?
She might be.
Yeah,
she might be. It's a good song. You got our. It's not a good song. I'm just used to it by now, I guess. But.
Well, cool. Michael, thank you so much for coming on this podcast.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me.
We're not worthy. I feel like we should be like, we're not worthy.
Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge on beards as well.
I don't have that much knowledge.
But we totally really like this comic.
Here's what I know about beards.
Yeah, it's a fantastic comic. It is a very, very good read.
Thank you so much. Here's what I know about beards. If you let it get too long over here, it starts getting in your mouth when you try to eat. So so keep it trimmed. Keep it trimmed over here.
Great wisdom from a great man.
Thanks.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the rest of this comic, by the way.
Yeah.
I just want to
say what?
Yeah, I want to gush a little bit and just say this was a pleasure to read. It was exciting and it was interesting. And again, even though there was a ton of text, and maybe this is like a callback to like before times for comics, but like it was actually fun to read this much text in a comic, because I don't see that much anymore. Or maybe it's just like my imagination, but yeah, it had a like great story. So yeah, thanks for sharing. And
Thank you so much.
Show.
Yeah. You know, the first issue, like I said, it's quite dense because we were really, you know, cram packed for. I was trying to get as much story as I could into 8 pages a month. The future issues will be. There's not going to be suddenly like a shortage of text on the page, but it won't be quite as crammed. There'll be a little more breathing room, but it'll hopefully have the same feel, but it won't
like
feel
an extra page.
It won't
here
feel
and there.
quite as crammed. Yeah,
I see what you mean.
But hopefully it'll have the same fun, and it'll have the same. There's some the big chase scene coming up in issue 2. There's some pretty cool stuff we came up with that I'm pretty excited for people to see. I've been excited for years for people to see it. Cool. Yeah.
Cool. Well, please come back and promote your second one.
Okay.
We'd love to talk to you again. And thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, his name's Michael Penick, and the comic is Recovery Inc. Go look for it on Kickstarter immediately.
He came up with a great catchphrase.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
What was it?
Although
it's
over
your head.
Over your head.
Yeah.
I like your other one too, though. When the going gets tough, I quit.
I quit. Yeah.
That would be a good one for this show, I think.
Possibly.
Cool. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.